Who are you carrying all those bricks for, anyway? God? Is that it? God? Well, I tell you, let me give you a little inside information about God. God likes to watch. He's a prankster. Think about it. He gives man instincts. He gives you this extraordinary gift, and then what does he do? I swear, for his own amusement, his own private cosmic gag reel, he sets the rules in opposition. It's the goof of all time. Look, but don't touch. Touch, but don't taste. Taste, don't swallow. And while you're jumping from one foot to the next, what is he doing? He's laughing his sick fucking ass off. He's a tight ass. He's a sadist. He's an absentee landlord. Worship that? Never.
Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven, is that it?
Why not? I'm here on the ground with my nose in it since the whole thing began. I've nurtured every sensation man has been inspired to have. I cared about what he wanted, and I never judged him. Why? Because I never rejected him, in spite of all his imperfections. I'm a fan of man. I'm a humanist. Maybe the last humanist. Who, in their right mind, Kevin, could possibly deny the 20th century was entirely mine? All of it, Kevin! All of it. Mine. I'm peaking, Kevin. It's my time now. It's our time.
Anybody want a drink? I'm having a drink.
It is our time now then. Welcome to the show. It is Tuesday the 9th of July 2013 and we are live on Awake Radio and broadcasting simultaneously on Blog Talk. You're listening to the Paul and Andy Show. Hello, everybody. All right, we thought we'd try and make our own little intro there.
Yep.
You'll have to let me know how that went, everybody. It was just my first attempt at our intro. All right, we'll play that back. It'll probably sound terrible, by the way. But I played two tunes on purpose there. Heaven 17 and Temptation, and then the devil himself.
Yep.
The devil reincarnate. And how has human society got to this point? How have they got us to the point that everything isn't as it should be? The opposite is true in almost every circumstance. They sell us something good through the front door and install their own back door to come and burgle us during the night, don't they?
Yeah.
Everything's got the back door installed into it.
Yeah.
And they burgle us during the night time. We surround our houses with spies who do not love us. They don't love us at all. We have opened our houses and turned them into see-through fish bowls, haven't we?
We certainly have.
And, a little bit of research will soon tell you
we have
that
become transparent.
we might as well. Yeah, we have. We might well be living in fish bowls because they can see right into our houses. Spiritually, we've already been raped, haven't we? Mentally, we've been raped.
Yeah.
And now physically, we've been taken to pieces, aren't we? This is our 2 hours every single Tuesday evening. We're in the middle of Yorkshire, and we try and add to the collective knowledge of things that matter.
Yeah.
And everybody's doing that. And I have in the past been tempted to perhaps frown upon those that are perhaps not doing what I think they should be doing. I'm starting to learn that leave them alone. They're doing more than most. They are doing more than most. Now, we do have problems with, certain parts of this community perhaps putting things into the mix that aren't helping a great deal. But got to leave them alone. Got to leave them alone. At least we know what side of the fence they're going to be on. Whether they'll stand up and be counted is another matter altogether, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Saving yourself starts with being independent, doesn't it? But this is the devil's time, isn't it? The devil's time. Graham Hancock talks about it. He reads about the times from Egypt, about how mankind would fall, and there's something of Hermes. The words of Hermes, or something like that. Hermetic sayings, or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it's about this time in history, but it's always been this time in history. We've been falling for thousands of years.
Yeah, this time is our time.
That's right. It's just our little
just
bit,
our
isn't it?
time. Yeah.
We get 72 years to try and work out what's happened over the past 4,000 or 5,000.
Yes.
It's a little bit of a big task, isn't it?
Just setting yourself
It's
a bit of
a big task.
Yeah.
Because we always succumb to temptation. Everybody always does. Everybody's always got the price, and people can pretend they don't, and pretend it's for little children, isn't it? But we do pretend that we are more than we are. We do pretend we're better than we are. There's 4 different types of people, isn't there? There's the sharing, caring, and then there's the ambitious achiever, and then there's the deceiving liar, and then the working survivor. We're all of them, aren't we? We've got all those characters built into us. But we only show what we think is appropriate
at the time that
you need it, because it is a show.
Yeah.
It is your stage, and you dress for it appropriately. You go into your house, get a dress, and come back out and be who you want to be.
Yeah.
Because this is your show. It's brilliant, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And they know this.
They do. That's why they call it a dress code.
Yeah, and it's yeah. I mean, we've had instances over thousands of years, men who wear dresses, and the men and the Indians wear head dresses. But it's all dresses. Men in dresses appear to control the carry-on, don't they? That they all wear a dress of some type, an actual cloak, or a cape, yeah. And what do we call men who dress up as women? We call them
drag,
and they've got drag on.
Drag on, yeah.
They've got drag on, haven't they?
They have, yeah.
Men in drag, men in tights, drag-ons. You think about that. You think about the fairy tales that we've been told over the years about dragons. We don't actually say our decode is the only decode.
No,
because we learned a long
not.
time ago that the codes work on every level. It depends what level you're on.
Yes.
So if you're listening to us and you're saying, that makes no sense at all, it's because you're not on the same level as us. Now, we're not fighting which level, who's above who. That's not what we're interested in. All right? It's whichever floor and story you're on.
Yeah.
All right? This is a multi-story lift.
It is.
And you're in the lift, and you're trying to lift yourself up to another floor and another story. And as you go up, every floor, which is called a story, has got less people but more knowledge on it. At the bottom, we've got the most people with the least knowledge. And at the top, we've got the least people with the most knowledge. And the trickle-down system, the tier, works.
Yes.
Yeah, the tier that trickles down. You see, you've got a tear in your eye and a tear that trickles down your face. Well, this is the tier that trickles down from the top to the bottom. What comes out at the bottom? Exactly. Yeah. You see, it should be called a middle, shouldn't it? But it's not. It's called a bottom, isn't it? It's not quite. But it's not the bottom, is it?
It isn't the bottom.
The sole of your foot should be the bottom.
Should be the bottom.
Yeah. There is another connection that I'm not going to add to that, by the way. I'm not actually going to do another sole connection with the bottom.
No.
I think I've made it already without saying it.
Without saying
I think I have actually made it without saying it, and I'm not going to say anything else.
And we're surrounded by them.
The solar system.
Yes.
Turn that round. The soul hour system. Turn that round and say it for yourself. You know, everything is a mirror of everything else. It's got its equal and its opposite, and that works in the language all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I put a number of posts on Facebook this week just to try and generate a little bit of wordplay, haven't we?
Yeah.
And the one that I put on was draw, wasn't it?
Was draw.
Okay, and if you say to most people, you know, the word draw, what does the word draw mean? Play along with me here, so this comes over okay.
I will, yes.
Right,
yeah.
Play along with me. What are most people going to say that the word draw actually means to them?
This varies. First thing I thought of was a kitchen drawer.
Right, okay.
You keep things in it.
That's an interesting... Yeah, but that's not the first thing most people would come.
No,
Children would go with a sketch.
A sketch, yeah.
They would go with a pen or a pen or pencil sketch, a drawing.
Yeah.
You know, to draw is an active, isn't it? It's to
Yeah.
act. To draw is to act. And you said like a kitchen drawer, but and people say, oh, that's spelled differently. Yeah, but it sounds the same, so it actually is the same.
Yeah.
It's a Grawer. Okay? But if you put drawer, well, turn the around, and you get a drawer.
You get a draw, yeah.
Because ER is the word a, and ERS is the word us.
It is, yes.
It's the word us. The language spins around like that. And this isn't a new language that we're speaking. I think we've got to make this very clear, haven't we? That
Yeah.
this version that we speak today, called English, is just the very best update of the language that has always, always, always existed. This has not been created for us as a new language. It is a Windows update. It is the Safari update, whichever computer system you're on. The Windows update or the Safari update for the jungle that you live in. But don't worry, Amazon's got everything you need. Remember those fruit machines? And you win in fruit. Do you remember? You one-arm bandits they were called, weren't they?
They were, yeah.
And you put your money in and you press your buttons or pull your arm, as it were, and it gives you fruit, doesn't it? Always won by fruit. But the main one was what? Bar, bar, bar.
It was. That was the big
Bar,
payout.
bar,
Was
bar, yeah.
bar, bar.
Yeah, I wonder why. A bar, bar, black sheep, have you any wool? Because I'm having it all. But the word bar is the word war, isn't it? And war is in the word draw. So let's go back to draw. Let's go back to draw. We can draw horses, draw carriages.
They do.
Taps draw water.
Draw water, yeah.
But the Americans don't call them taps.
No.
The Americans call them
Faucets.
exactly. Now, I know the Americans spell it F-A-U-C-E-T, don't they?
They do, yeah.
But let's go on with the decode
The
for draw.
decode, yeah.
And you realise that this F-A-U-C-A-T is just a cover story. So let's go on then. Theatres draw audiences.
They do.
Well, the draws have we got? I've lost which ones I've said and which ones I haven't.
Yep. We've done
Gunmen draw,
yeah.
cowboys
Cowboys
guns.
draw.
Now there's an interesting one, cowboys. That doesn't make sense, does it? Cows are girls.
Yeah.
Cows are girls and bulls are boys. So why are we saying cowboys? That doesn't make sense, does it? No, cows is girls. So why do we call boys cows? Well, let's have got the word cow. Where's the cow? The word cow is the word cower. And when you shoe a cow, it cowers. And they shoe us, don't they? We have shoes on our feet. Yeah, and you think, this isn't all connected. Yeah, it is. On our level. It is on our level. So the word to draw comes in all its guises, and most people will think that this is a multi-use word. It means different things in different usages.
contexts,
Yeah.
yes.
And they're right and wrong. Because what you need is the synonym, okay? The synonym is the overarching description of the word.
Yeah.
The synonymous, right, with the word is the connection to pull or to force.
Which is the noun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's what, and we need to realise that these things are just there to fool us. These are spells. You know, when you go online and you install a new program, it says, "Would you like the wizard to help you?" Doesn't it? Because this is which is. That's where you get your choices. Which is it? Okay, which is. But you think it's pointy hats and black cats. Well, okay, it is for the pointy hats and black cats brigade. Not saying that at all. Black cats and witches were hunted in the 15th and 16th century. Who knows how many were done away with? But back to draw. The word draw, its starting is pull or force. And now you say, well, when you draw a sketch, okay, you actually show other people. And you actually want their credit, don't you? You want, oh, well done, that's great, that's fantastic. So all you're asking is just pulling a compliment. Yeah, well, horses pull carriages, and theatres draw them in, or pull a large crowd, don't they? And taps, yeah, through the pressure of the water is forced out of it, so it's a faucet.
Yep.
See, F-O-R-C-E-I-T, but no, they spell it a little bit differently, and you just don't quite get it. It is all connected. People say it isn't, but it obviously is. Because we can do this with every word, can't we? And the word draw is a spell of the word ward. And we live in wards. A draw's pulled out. I just thought the draw that you said, that we pull it, don't we?
We pull the draw out.
We pull that and then we force it back in.
Force it, yeah.
That's right. It's all pull and force. The word draw is pull and force. That's its original meaning. The draw has just been added to fool you. Yeah, I mean, football sides can draw, can't they?
They can, yeah.
And that's where it's like a tug of war. They've agreed to draw. They've pulled and pulled and pulled, and they pulled each other apart, and no one's won. So it's a draw. I wish people would do words like that. Just if people looked at words in a slightly different way, you can have some real fun with it, can't we? I mean, if we look at the big multinational Standard Oil New York company, it stands for Standard Oil New York, but we know it as Sony. Okay, Sony, S-O-N-Y. And if you look at the adverts that they have, underneath Sony's in capital letters, and underneath in smaller letters, lowercase type, is the word make, full stop, believe. Okay? Now, I know everybody watching, listening, won't have ever done this, but just put the word it before the word Sony, and then say it to yourself. What does he say?
It's only make believe.
Exactly. And nobody sees that, do they? You watch it, and even the awake crowd, even the awake and aware, you watch that and you say, I never saw that. Right in front of you. It's only make believe. But it's not that it's an illusion, it's that they actually make us believe it.
Yeah.
It's not a fairy tale in the way that a lot of people are describing this. They make reality and then program us to believe it.
Yep.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Brilliant, yeah.
Round and round and round we go, arguing about what's right and what's wrong. Why?
Why, yeah.
You're listening to the Unpenned Show with Paul and Andy, broadcasting live around the world. We believe freedom is free. It is enslavement that you're paying for. If you ain't mad by now, you're not paying attention.
So, welcome back to the show. It is Tuesday, the 9th of July 2013. We are live on Awake Radio and simulcasting on Blog Talk as well. So, good evening to both sets of listeners, and thank you for doing so. Now then, we have, just, you might be not switched on, turn yourself on, fella.
Am I on now?
You are.
There we are,
okay.
thank you.
Turn yourself, no, don't, not now.
Not that way.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Back to drawing.
Back to drawing. Well, we always say back to the drawing board, don't we?
We do.
And when we're little ones, do you remember we get taught in a certain way, don't we, when we're little? Now, we always say that we're fish, and we are the fish. We were thrown overboard a long time ago, and getting back on board is very difficult. Okay, you've got to stop drowning, which means get out of debt. Then you've got to get smart. Okay, Noah and his ark. You've got to start building the ark to get to dry land. Okay, because this is the second great flood that we're living in, and it's a flood of debt and ignorance. And if you remember when you're really small, we'll do a little bit of fish analogy. I haven't done this for a long time. But do you remember, we're fish and we're swimming. And we know what John Maxwell says about the coming out of your mother's water and down the canal. He's not wrong.
No, he's not.
He's actually not wrong at all. But there is something else. He never goes any further with it. And I wonder why he doesn't go any further. Because if he's figured that much out, he should have figured the rest out as well. But he never gives you the rest. And just going off subject a little bit, and I'm only going to tell you my experience with Jordan Maxwell. We've been on air now for about a year, and I was brave enough to contact all the big names in the first 6 months. I actually contacted every single one of them, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
And Jordan Maxwell, I've emailed him 3 times. And in January of this year, he was on another radio station. He was back doing his first interview for quite a long time. He was telling people that his website had been stolen and his work had been stolen, and he was really up on his uppers. So I thought, okay, I'm going to send him a small donation. And he gave out the specific details of how to send him a donation. So the very day after, I sent a donation with an email saying that I was delighted to hear him back on the radio. He was very much responsible for my understanding in the early days. And if I hadn't listened to Jordan, I wouldn't have gone down the path that I did. So I thanked him very much and sent him, I sent him 50 quid actually. I'll be honest, 50 quid I sent. Nothing at all.
No.
Now, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Because we've emailed him in the past and he just refused to talk to us, and we said, okay, he doesn't have to reply to everybody, but it would be a courtesy. But anyway, he always says, I don't get, I'll give you my home phone number, you can email me, I reply to all emails. It's not true. Okay, he doesn't.
No.
He doesn't. Twice I emailed him, no reply at all. Third time I emailed him with a donation to the very, very place that he said, and 24 hours later, the donation went all right. Nothing. Now, I know he doesn't have to say thanks very much. But that's not the way we do things in this movement. We don't do it like that, do we?
No,
we don't do it like that.
we're meant to have common courtesy. Yeah.
Now, I know people will come up with, Jordan Maxwell's not a good guy, blah, blah. Leave that alone. We're not doing that.
Into that.
I'm going to tell you my personal experience.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to share experience with you. Now, we know that as the word sex. Now, we think sex is just the act of, you don't have to love them, just have sex. You know, it's just a recreational pastime nowadays, and maybe it always was. Maybe we look back with rose-tinted spectacles thinking that we were better versions of ourselves. We were different versions, but I'm not sure we were better. I'm not sure at all. We were certainly different, though. But the word sex is shared experience, and I'm sharing my experience with you guys now. And that's my experience with Jordan Maxwell. But going back to the analogy of we're born in water, okay, through the stages of pregnancy and the actual fetus itself. And look at the word fetus. Look at the word fetus. We have to look at that word. It's got the word for to us in it. Yeah, and they want to defeat us, knock us off our feet.
They do.
Defeat us. They call it a fetus, but they want to defeat us, just as in chess. You'll knock them over, aren't you? When you're playing chess, this is a global game of chess that we're playing, whether you choose it or not. It is. This is a global game of chess, and when you're winning in chess, you knock the pieces over as you take them off, don't you?
You do, yeah.
They knock them off their feet. Defeat us. And we're called a fetus.
Yep.
And it's born in a uterus. Yeah?
Yeah.
And when they want to stop us being born, they neuter us.
They do.
These words are all connected, but nobody does this for us. Why don't they do it? Because this is the language they share to themselves. This is how they communicate with each other. They give us a fluffy version of language that makes perfect sense to children. And that's what they keep us as.
They do.
They keep us as the watch with mother. Which window do you want to look through today? Well, you're looking through Bill Gates' window at the moment. Or you're looking through Steve Jobs. Well, Apple. And look at the signature on that Apple. It's got a bite out of it.
Yes.
It's telling you there is no doubt they do tell us.
They do.
And we cannot resist.
Right in front of your
We
face.
cannot resist.
Hide it in plain sight.
Yeah, that's what we do these shows for sometimes. This is turned into a fun language decode show. Sometimes we do these, sometimes we don't.
Well, that's what they did. That's what they've done with the language. We speak it every day and not realise.
We speak our own destiny
into reality.
Because we think we're saying one thing, when the fact of the matter is that we're carrying a brand new computer through the front door, but it's got a back door ready for... Well, they're coming through the back door and steal everything.
Yeah. Well, and we're honed into it, aren't we? We're surrounded by a plethora of news stories. And that's all they are. They're just stories. We don't know if they're true or not. I don't even care if they're true or not.
But we fight about whether they are.
We are. That's it. We're
So-and-so
honed into it.
So-and-so that I believe said it was true. Well, so-and-so that I believe said this version. Red wine's good for you. Red wine's bad for you. Beer's good for you. They have us at each other's throats.
It's a duel. It's a
duality.
A constant duel and duality that's going on.
It is.
And it's like the cowboys doing the draw.
Duel.
It's a duel.
Yeah.
And what do they use in that duel? They use a revolver.
They do. Round and round and round.
Round
we go.
and round we go.
And they put rounds, or called bullets, called rounds, into the chamber.
Into the chamber.
And the chamber is where the verdict is delivered.
It is.
It's so simple.
And they spin that revolver round so you can get another bullet there to fire your bullet. And that's all we do all day on Fight Book, firing bullets off. And where have we got this information from? From magazines.
Magazines, yes,
and
of course.
Where
magazines.
do you keep your bullets? You keep them in a magazine. It just... And they've got us fighting over different little things.
They've got us fighting over things that don't bloody matter.
That don't matter, yes.
Doesn't bloody matter.
Doesn't matter, no.
What matters is what we're doing to make our world different.
Yes.
Because the world is not banging on our front door saying, please change me, is it?
No.
And the one thing we don't like is being told what to do. We're here now because we don't like being ruled by our rulers with the rules that we don't like. And then we go and tell other people what to do. It doesn't make any sense, does it? You've got to be attractive. You've got to be attractive.
Yeah.
And we are nothing but little fish in this shark's tail. Because the loan sharks are taking they're taking us all down.
Yeah.
We do need a Noah. And that's a Knower.
Yeah,
Noah.
that type of Noah, yeah.
Noah, somebody who knows. If you think politics is the answer, you've got a long way to go yet. You've got a long, long way to go. Politics is the many parasites that feed off us. They feed off us.
And
we don't need them, but they need us because we are their daily bread. They need us. They need us because we are their daily bread. Give us this day our daily bread.
Yeah.
And lead us not into temptation. We're connecting this up very well this evening.
And we've got...
And deliver us from evil.
And they've got to prove things to us, don't they?
The Lord's Prayer. What the
need
Lord's...
to
They wear
prove
dresses.
bread.
Yeah, they do. They need to prove bread. It rises and falls and rises again, doesn't it?
Yes.
It actually...
The rise and the fall.
The rise and the fall, and it rises again. I know.
Yeah.
That's fish. Right, fish.
Fish, yeah.
Fish. You got me off it. I'm back
did.
on it. Fish.
5
Jo-
loaves and 5 fishes.
2 fishes. It's
Two
2
fishes.
fishes. Only 2 fishes. It's
Was
duality.
Yes, that's it.
It's 2.
5
You
loaves,
see,
2
you
fishes.
know downstairs in my shop when I'm busy.
Yeah.
I say, I'll tell you what, I'm knocking this all out with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, and I'm going to have put on the back of my T-shirt, General Operations Director, but I can't afford all the letters, so I'm going to abbreviate it. All the letters won't fit on.
The shoulders aren't broad
Fish,
enough.
pack it in, right?
Yeah,
fish, right? Fish from the mother's water down the canal into what we call reality.
Birthed.
Okay, birthed, delivered by the doc. All right, they're delivered by the doctor. Now Jordan does all this. He does all this, and we get it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't move on with the swimming. Okay, the first thing that we're going to teach our little fish to swim. Well, the first thing he does is he learns to stroke the breast, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
This is the breast stroke, because he has to feed himself.
Yeah.
Okay, and our little fish's first inclination is to stroke the breast and feed.
Mm-hmm.
And an interesting fact about breasts is, it doesn't actually matter. The size of a woman's breast is not indicative of how much milk she can produce. Do you know that?
I did, yes.
Yeah, it's not indicative at all. The ladies with the bigger chests
Doesn't mean that
doesn't
have
mean
more milk.
No, it doesn't at all.
No.
We digress.
It does. It comes from a different part, doesn't it?
It does,
That's
yeah.
only the
Yeah.
that's only the teat, as it were.
It is the teat.
So it can be delivered. The milk can be delivered.
Anyway, our little fish has to learn to stroke the breast.
Yep.
And then our little fish has to learn to crawl.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those are the 2 first swimming strokes that we're taught, aren't we?
They certainly are.
They certainly are. And then they have to get themselves up off the ground, with their arms and their legs, and stand upright. They have to use the power.
Yep.
Then they have to learn to navigate. So they go to school and get the very instruments they need.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not so much now.
No.
But we used to get a compass, a ruler, and a square, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
A pen, pencil, compass, ruler, and a square.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what you need to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you get older, you need to learn the power of the wind pipe, the force of the air.
Yep.
Because you're all little sailors, aren't you, really?
Mm-hmm.
We're all trying to be little sailors. But they won't let us get up. They keep us down.
Mm-hmm.
We use our arms like the army does. And we try to navigate like the navy does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's even called a naval, isn't it? Your belly button's called a naval because it's halfway in and halfway out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we need to use the force of the air to negotiate our sails.
Yep.
And that's what everybody is, a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
A man of sail. And everything around us is for sale. And people still think I'm talking rubbish, don't they? They still don't get it, do they? Still, and I just raise my eyebrows and I smile and I think, why don't you get it? Why don't you actually see that this story's been encoded into our lives? People are looking for martial law. We've been under martial law. We're a naval control system.
We are, yes.
This is a maritime control system.
It certainly is.
And it's all been played with a very single word called person.
Mm-hmm.
It's the person. It starts from persona to personality to person, which is a vehicle that's called you that they tax.
Mm-hmm. Taxi.
Yeah, that's what a taxi is.
Mm.
Well, tax us is the U, isn't it? Y-E-W.
Mm-hmm.
You see, but we think Y-O-U is us. So why do we have E-W-E?
Ah.
Yeah, you see. Then we have the word USC. Use.
Mm.
No, it's use. All right, if it's use, that's fine. So why's it got use?
Mm-hmm.
Different context, different letter setup. Yeah, all right. Sounds like EWES.
It does sound like
Yeah,
EWS.
they treat us like use and use us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we are used to them. We don't understand this very well, do we?
No.
And yet it couldn't be more bloody obvious, could it?
No, it couldn't. No.
Now, we try and bill ourselves, don't we, as a news programme. And sometimes we do some.
We do an odd news story, been done now and then.
Listen back to last week's. I have noticed that loads of shows are not doing the news. And then we didn't do any.
That was just to test if people
We didn't
were listening.
do any. Good God. I do smile at I talk about contradictory and trip myself up going backwards. Yeah, we do.
But we could lead into a news story actually with the fish, because fish are cannibalistic.
They are.
And fish eat fish. And once they get us eating each other,
Which they have.
Which they have, and I'm sure they would love to push it even further. But we're linking into the GMO stuff.
Think of the fish. See, the last stop before we got this language was France, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's travelled through a well-known path that empire's taken, and it hopped the channel and turned into what we have today.
Yeah.
And the French word for fish is poisson. Poisson. What sounds like...
What are we drinking tonight? What's your poison tonight?
Yeah, exactly.
Paul?
What's your poison, fella? Yeah?
All right, I'm on
What's your poison?
On a can of John Smith's
Yeah,
tonight.
exactly. See, poison, poisson. You think, no.
You're just making it up
you're
now.
making it up now.
Yeah.
All these collections are silly.
Radio tuna.
All right, I know. Radio tuna did the last week, didn't we? A bloody great big bloody pig fish with one cracking bloody massive eye looking at you.
Looks like a big
Radio
red herring.
tuna on bloody line, surfing in the net, getting on your key to board with a fish filter, and they've got ports at the bloody back.
Yeah.
And people still think it's bullshit. Back to... Where were we?
You've lost me now. I can't even remember. Fish and cannibalism. It's cannibalistic. That's what they've got us down to.
They've got rubbish memories, haven't they, fish?
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Hand up. Anybody else? Yes, me. I think we've just confirmed that clearly, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, we do eat each other, and we are. We're living in a predators. We're living in a predatory society,
Predator
all
and
designed by
prey.
the money system. And we're taught to pray, to be prey.
Yeah.
P-R-A-Y, P-R-E-Y. Okay, when you sit down to pray, imagine that pose. You're on your knees, hands clasped together, pushed up to your nose, pointing towards your temple. Yeah? What does begging look like? What does begging look like? You call it praying. I call it begging. Begging for someone to come and save your very soul. Save your... That's what you're begging for.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't turned up for a while, has he?
No.
Now, we don't know if he turned up at all. And the devil clip we played at the beginning of the show, it's just the stage character, isn't it? We've got good versus evil and God versus the devil.
Yeah.
God is good. You get told that a load of times. But temptation, we can resist everything but temptation, can't we?
Yeah.
Sung by Heaven 17. It is a heavy burden, isn't it, to resist temptation, because we live in the land of it.
We do, yeah.
This is the land of temptation. It's not the land of the free, really. We've never been free. If you've just discovered you're a slave, well done.
Yeah.
You've always been a slave.
Always have.
Don't get excited. Don't get too upset. Don't run around like a headless chicken. Don't lose your head. It's just you that figured this out today. Everybody else has known it for a long, long, long time. And they're okay with it because they think they're on the winning team. And at this moment in time they are. Now, history teaches us that more and more people lose as time goes by. But we don't live long enough to see the cycle complete. We just get to be a little part of it, don't we?
Yeah.
We get to be a little section of the cycle. And if you see it as the hour on the clock or the year on the calendar, we only live one astrological day, don't we?
Yeah.
Because an astrological day, 1 degree in time, in star time, is 72 years.
degrees, yeah.
72 years.
6 years, yeah.
Yeah, 72 years. And 72 years, or 72 times 30, yeah, is 2160, which is the defined length of an age, isn't it? And that is an age. And we're moving from one age to the other. But we're not going to live long enough to see it. We're going to just play a little part of it.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to learn it all, just learn the bit that you need. And the bit that you need is the interesting bit, because the interest is what you're trying to spread.
Wow, yeah.
Now, the banks want the interest in a monetary form.
They do.
That's all they're bothered about. They want you to be in as much debt as possible because they're interested in the bit that exists, which is the interest. The other stuff they made up. Now, they're not really bothered about you paying that stuff back because they made it up from fresh air.
Yep.
And they just stick it on the government's tab and let everybody pay it because that's socialism, communism, fascism. Now, you might be learning what those systems of control are, and they're all varying degrees of totalitarian control.
Yep.
And they've been practiced throughout history forever.
They have, yes.
And we really need to sometimes just take a little bit of a step back and say, we cannot learn all this in one go. We cannot achieve this in one lifetime. So we can specialise and get really good at one part of it. Or we can generalise and try and attract some more listeners. And it is a type of religion, because it's a system of belief in. Okay? And belief Listen to that word belief. All right? Think of the tree of knowledge, the real tree of knowledge, the one that's growing in your head. You see, when you're little, you draw trees, and I don't know if you remember doing this, but I remember drawing this. When you want to draw a tree when you're little, there's a little cheap way to do it, and you start off with a big letter Y.
Yeah.
And then you put another Y on it,
Yeah.
and then you put another Y on the end there, and another Y on the end there. And it's not by mistake, is it?
No.
It's not by mistake that a number of Ys build the connections to the tree
To
that
the
you've just
tree of
drawn when you were
knowledge.
little.
Yeah.
So it's the why is, men. It's
Yeah.
the why is what you want to know. So you can actually be a leaf on the growing tree of knowledge that you're trying to share with others.
Yeah.
So don't get upset if you're in a different orchard to everybody else. Apples and oranges, yeah, pears and plums. Find who you can share with and share value with, and get on with it.
Yeah.
Don't try and know it all. You can't know it all, but you can be a knower and help save those that want to know.
Yeah.
So be a knower, and then be a shower, and then go and do it. This is the relaxing part. This is the sharing what you know over a beer, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But what do we do all day? We try and attract, don't we?
We do,
We
yeah.
put on our shows, and we're getting better at it. Or at least we're trying.
We're trying to get
We're
better
trying to
at
get
it,
better
yeah.
at it. I mean, there's no better congratulations than self-congratulations.
No.
And although we profess to be complete amateurs, we're a lot more comfortable doing this now.
Yeah.
So, we just don't get frustrated, don't get annoyed. You found this. Congratulations. Now you have to ask, why has it found me? Because you didn't find it. It's always been here.
It has.
It attracted you.
Yeah.
All right? You didn't find it. It attracted you.
Yeah. You've just
So-
dug it up.
Yeah, you're the one that's gone searching for it.
Yeah.
You've researched for something that already existed, but it was planted in your garden, and now you've researched it, and you've found a seed, and now this seed, you're going to suck it. And are you going to suck seed? Well, if you keep sucking this seed to excess, you might find success. And if you keep sucking it until you're full, you'll be successful. All right? But
Yeah.
what are you growing? What are you growing? Because this tree of life needs a little bit of watering every now and again. Okay, we need to water it. We need to grow it properly. Otherwise it'll grow up ugly and misformed. And it'll soon die. Because
will.
that's what we're growing. You're growing an internal you. You're growing the you that might be some useful or some use when you've done with the outside. Can we? No, we can't, can we? We don't know.
No.
But I just look at it this way. If there is something afterwards, I hope I've got the kit, the I can pass the entry exam
Yeah.
to get in.
The necessary credentials
Exactly.
to carry on a bit
That's
further.
right. But if I haven't, I think we'll just get sent back.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
That's where reincarnation comes from.
But I won't know I'm sent back. I just
No.
won't be good enough to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And because life is stacked on levels, with the most knowledge and the least number at the top, and the least knowledge and the most number at the bottom, because we've stacked it like that, it does make sense that it may well exist
Yeah.
like that elsewhere.
Elsewhere, yeah.
Because we've made it this way, and we say, well, I'm not including myself, we live in it. But we do give our controllers too much credit.
We do give them far too much credit.
They know about us. They know our weaknesses, and they know every man has his price.
Yeah.
Now, there'll be people listening saying, I will never succumb to the New World Order. Well, how much before you start saying, how much? There will never be enough. Well, there speaks a man who knows he's never going to get the chance. Right, there speaks a man who knows he's never going to get the opportunity. Now, we spoke about this earlier, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And I said to myself, what I said to you, I said, Joe, sometimes I wonder if I got a knock on the door and someone said, look, here's £1 million, stop doing that radio show, it's not helping. And I said, how long would it take me to think about this £1 million? I would just give it a minute's thought, and I'd think, even if I took it, my life would be over. Because they'd be back next week, and they'd want something.
Yes, they would.
They'd want something.
Because they bought you.
Because you've sold out. SOULED. Sold out. They'll be back next week. You know that radio show? We perhaps would like you to keep going, but perhaps we'd like you to take it in a different direction. Now, this is hypothetical. This is not me dreaming, okay? But you see what I mean? The return of the instant gratification, the I want it now society, the if I don't take it, somebody else will. I should take it so I can look after my children. I deserve it.
Yeah.
It's prevailing throughout society now, and maybe it always did. Maybe we need to start saying, why is it the elites are never good at football, basketball, cricket, right, or any sports that we take part in? Yeah. Why not? It's because they weren't playing out at playtime, were they? They were sat in the library or whatever,
warming
playing
somebody's
chess.
seat. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Yeah. You're going, yeah. Or warming somebody's seat. A nice little line in there, my friend. But they didn't come out to play at playtime. They weren't the getters of the girls, were they? Politics is show business for ugly people. Yeah. And those are the people at school that were the geeks. And they've figured out a system for geeks, haven't they? Okay, because they're the devil ants. These are the devil ants who work for the system. We'll use the word deviants, but they've learnt to... They've got access to information about who we are that predates us. Predators. Predators. Yeah. They learn how to be predators. They learn how to instruct. Yeah. The force brigade, the bullies. They learn how to utilise and manipulate the system that exists to elevate them to a life of comfort and luxury. Yeah. That's how this works. They predate us. They're
feeding off us back to the cannibalistic society.
Except the corruption is now becoming endemic, isn't it? It's a pandemic. It is. Everybody is on the take. Yeah. There are a few good men left in politics, but I don't hear many of them speaking up. I don't hear them speaking. I can't hear their voices. I can't hear them fighting. I can't hear them. Can you?
No.
Guys, order another round because we're staying here. Yeah. What was I thinking going back to Ant? I mean, we just got here, and we have more than enough food to get us through the winter, right? Why go back?
But there was that ant that stood up to me.
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant.
One ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss, they're puny.
Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one?
Are you kidding?
How about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? He's quite the motivational speaker, isn't he? Let's ride!
A very well used clip then from A Bug's Life, the grasshopper clip. A well used clip, but week after week after week, we try and make shows that you're not embarrassed to play to somebody else, don't we?
Yeah.
Because there are some great shows out there that really do bring people on who are actually awake and aware, as we say, or as the station's motto is. But there are many people out there who are absolutely frightened to death to even dip their foot in the water. Yeah. They're actually sat by the edge of the swimming pool, even scared to go in the shallow end, aren't they? Yep. What do we call small fish? Fry.
We do.
We do. When we fry small fish, I fry them. I actually fry small fish. I put them into what's called a batter boat, batter the hell out of them, bloody burn them. And that's not by mistake either. No, it's not. It's not. The analogies and connections that we talk about all are real if you choose to see them, and they're not if you don't. That's how it works. The Grasshopper movie, The Bug's Life, you can't say they don't tell us. I mean, we do this week after week after week, and every week I keep saying the same thing. We're being told.
We are.
We are being told in no uncertain terms what the future will bring unless we act in a certain way.
Yep.
But there is a little bit of a kicker at the end of every film that we watch, and that is that somebody else comes to save the day.
Yeah.
It's just religion, isn't it? Somebody else comes to save the bloody day, so relax, put the kettle on, the film's over in 15 minutes, you know the good guy's going to win, no matter how much trouble he's in now, he's going to save the day. Even Bruce Willis, at 60-odd years old, can still pull it out of the bag right at the end.
Yeah.
It's just religion. It's just updated religion. We've got to see it for what it is. We've got to stop fighting about whose religion is best. We need to go back and say, okay, this lovely blue planet, who put the countries on? Who put the lines on? Right, who decided which religion? Who wrote the book, which is very similar to the other book, with just a few changes, but all really seem to be written from what appears to be a similar type story.
Do they all have the line in though, God saves them that help themselves?
I don't know about all of them, but I think it's there to be...
It must have a line very similar to that in each and every one of them.
All religions tell us what we're doing wrong, show us where we're going wrong, then allow us to keep doing it because someone else is going to save us.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's all about. Who put the lines on the planet? Who divided them, right? All religions are called denominations, which is money. They're given flags, and they're told... Why? We've got to go back to that point and think...
Yes.
Because they've got a different language in every country. Who worked out how to give them all a different language, but the same control method? Very clever, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
They all got different languages, but the same control method. Now, just take a moment of your day to understand how much control was already in place at that moment in time, somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 years ago. They're all following the basic same story with the basic religious setup, and all taught that they've got the right guy and everybody else is following the wrong guy.
Yes.
Now think about that, because all religions are called orders. And who they're getting them from.
Who they're getting
them from.
Yeah.
We never actually just take a moment sometimes to see reality for what it must be. It must be that this system's been in place for 2,000 to 4,000 years. And for us to use the spies who don't love us, with the back doors that let they come in and thieve from us all day.
Yeah.
And that is thieving our very privacy, which has no value till you give it away and they can use it against you. Now they can change what we've done on this computer. Now they can put on that computer or that one, they can get in through the back door, and I could be accused of all sorts.
Yeah.
Because we're getting down to the point now of you're guilty unless you can afford to prove yourself innocent.
Yes.
And only one piece of evidence is needed for a conviction. Everybody who said, if you've nothing to hide, you've nothing to worry about, don't stand too close when you say that to me. Don't stand too close, because I'm getting to the point of wanting to slap you. I'm wanting to slap people and say, you bloody coward. You're saying that because what you're really saying inside is, don't come and look at me, I'm not doing nothing wrong, I'm okay, I'm following the rules, I'm doing as I'm told. That's what they're really saying. We're here now. This is where we live, this is the date, and once the day is gone, you've got another go tomorrow. You get another present called now.
Yeah.
And it's here tomorrow. And the present is a gift, and we get a new one every day. And most people waste it doing things that don't really have any value. And people who don't have any money, it's because they don't have any value. Now, it sounds like I'm being a bit eugenicist here, and to a point I am, because this is the way it's going to be turned on us eventually. Eventually, as society becomes more and more poor, society is going to look down on those that are less fortunate. Now, those that are less fortunate, they need to actually learn that this is their time more than any other time.
Yeah.
They understand this better than those that haven't got here yet. But the less fortunate have got to be able to help those that are falling. Okay, those that didn't think they were going to fall, those that didn't think that this was going to apply to them, you've got to be the friend they didn't know they needed, because they never saw you as equal. This is an equality-based system. and it's all based on who you think you're equal with. and you can argue back with me if you want to. You mix with people just like you. No matter who you are listening, you mix with like-minded, similar financial ability and earning power. People who have similar circumstances in most occasions. You mix with people like you. Now, people who are above you, you have to work hard to get up to that level, to join their club.
Mm-hmm.
And people who don't have as much as you have, you don't mix with those, do you?
No.
You stay at your level. Or you try and climb up a level if you can by joining the golf club and other secret societies and general clubs. You try and climb up using the clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, clubs are the very things that we used to batter each other with, aren't they?
Yeah,
the very first thing we picked up and hit each other with.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really where I'm going here. What I'm going is the friends that you have are probably equal to you in most ways, which is why you're friends. But you're going to stay there. You're not going to collectively raise yourself up to be better. You're going to just be friends.
Yeah.
And all friends look at each other in a way of, am I benefiting from this relationship? That's why you have friends. Because you share.
Yeah.
But most friends share gossip and parties and holidays. But we don't share knowledge, do we?
No.
We don't share
No.
knowledge. Now, if knowledge is power, there's a lot of people that haven't got any.
We are powerless.
I was going to say, remember, there's a lot of people who haven't got any money who say they're very smart. Well, if knowledge is power, that doesn't sit right, does it? Where'd you get your knowledge from? Well, you got it from somebody else. Right. How's this waking people up going? How's the waking people up going for you then? How many people have you woke up? Or how many enemies have you made? Because it's a darn sight easier to make enemies
It is, yeah.
than it is to make friends when you're sharing this stuff. Now, I know a lot of people who might not have never heard people talking like this before, because it never occurred to me until recently. The way we speak is normal to you and I, and completely bloody alien to most people, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So anybody who's got this far in the hour and a half that we're going to do, well done. Well done, because I am talking to you. I am saying that, I remember when I first started, I used to have this wonderful saying, I'm learning things I didn't know I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know this. And I think I should have known it.
Should have known it, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know it. And it was just, for me, it was a hell of an apprenticeship. We both went through it about the same time, didn't we?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be as calm and comfortable now if it wasn't for meeting you, like. Because we went on some roller coasters.
Oh, we have, yeah.
We did go on some roller coasters. And every fairground ride is designed to tell us that it's a ground and it's fair and we should take part and enjoy the lights, the sound, the music and the challenges. And it's all rigged, isn't it?
It's all rigged.
It's all one big bloody casino, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, we picked on a news story last week. And I don't think perhaps I did it the justice that I should have done. And that was the Ritalin one.
Yeah.
The kids, I mean...
The ADHD.
It really did bother me that... And 800,000 parents, 800,000 kids, sorry, are... they're agreeing to the kids being put on... It really bothers me, this.
I'm just looking for it now because it is a made up. It is a made up. A man in a white coat made it up.
Well, yeah, and he actually admits that he
does.
did make it up. We haven't got it actually. I know what it is, but it's not actually hanging on our Psychopath's Lair wall.
Right? No,
It's not. It's not on the wall. But how can you tell people that Ritalin is been prescribed? I mean, there's an 800% increase in drugging children to go to school. Now, the disease itself gives you the name of the disease tells you attention deficit.
Yeah.
Kids need their mums and dads.
Yep.
And if they don't have their mums and dads, they haven't got that bond, that all-important bond. Because there is something that changes you when you become a parent, and you know that you're never going to change back. Something happens, doesn't it?
It does.
I was there at the birth of my daughter, and I got to cut the cord, and I got to hold her. And there was this little vac pact, turning pink in front of my very eyes. New little girl. And it was a sensation. It was something... I don't have the words. I'm not educated enough to have the words to do this. But I really want people to Ritalin, drugging your kids to go to school. It's not right. We shouldn't be doing this.
No.
There's something wrong with the education
There is
system.
definitely wrong with that.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Maya. She was a bright, energetic young lady. Everybody thought Maya would do great things one day. Today was a special day. It was the first day of school, and Maya was looking forward to all the new things she would learn this year. But this year was not going to be exactly what Maya expected. Something was different this year. Something in school was not quite right. Maya was still learning how to read and write, and even though her homework was full of spelling mistakes, her teacher gave her a gold star. The teacher did not ask Maya to correct her spelling. Maya's mother asked the teacher why her daughter got a gold star. The teacher said that marking the spelling wrong would hurt the child's self-esteem. In the modern way of schooling, there was no right and no wrong. They now have a new way of spelling called invented spelling. She explained that the kids could spell words any way they liked. It's all correct because it's all creative. In some of the more advanced classes, they even use this method of no wrong or right in math. This way, 2 plus 2 could equal 5, and no one's feelings would be hurt. Even though this seemed odd to Maya's mother, she didn't question the teacher. After all, the teacher is the professional, and surely she knows what she's doing. By the second month in school, Maya came home looking very down. She no longer was as happy as she used to be. Her mom didn't know that Maya was learning a subject called death education. All that talk about death gave Maya nightmares and made her nervous all the time. When her mom found out about death ed, it confused her. She didn't understand why young children were being taught about death. But she didn't say anything because, after all, the teacher was the professional. And surely she knows what she is doing. On the 6th week of school, Maya's mom found a test in Maya's backpack. The test was marked, not to be taken home. Her mom looked over the test and found questions about her personal thoughts. Do you sometimes get nervous talking in front of class? Do you ever get depressed? Do you feel like your parents are abusing you? Upon further research, Maya's mom found out that this was a psychological test given to the students without the parents' consent. The kids were offered pizza or movie tickets if they filled out all the answers. Investigating further, she found out that if the child was evaluated as high risk for depression, she would be sent to the school counselor, who would then tell the parents that the child needed medication. She also found out that most of the kids taking the test had mental problems and that they would all be asked to see the psychologist. Maya's mother was alarmed, but she let Maya see the counselor. She was worried about her little girl and felt she might need help. And after all, the counselor is a professional, and if he says Maya needs medicine, he must know what he's doing. The psychologist recommended Maya be put on a drug that would cure the chemical imbalance in her brain. The fact that she was never tested for such an imbalance didn't occur to her mom. The doctor was a professional. So each day before school, Maya would line up with all the other kids who also needed medication. A day after she started taking her meds, Maya was having more nightmares and weird thoughts. She didn't look right to her mother. So they went back to the doctor, who put Maya on a different drug. Even though she went along with all this, Maya's mom was confused. How could her daughter be getting high grades but not know how to read or write or do math? And why was her little girl, who was so happy and energetic, now so quiet and sleepy all the time? The teacher was pleased. Maya no longer spoke out in class and seemed to be more focused on her work.
Do you know, that still bothers me a great deal. It really does bother me. Because here we are. here we are. Parents have lost what it is to be a parent. And I am criticising them. I am. And they can say we're too busy, life's too hard, the children are watching things that are making them unruly. They're just abdicating their responsibilities.
Yeah.
The ability to respond to what's going on. They don't have the ability to respond, so they say it's not their responsibility and they hand it over to schools.
Yeah. It's I had a similar experience with my daughter. She started nursery and at 3 years old, and we at home she'd had the sandpit, she'd had the playing in the water. She had a favourite book. I can still remember. She's 24 now, and I can still remember a book that she used to have, a bedtime story, and it was called The Backyard Band from Clancy Street. It was a little poem about the kids had made their own little band with roll-up newspaper and kazoos and bits of paper wrapped round combs and things.
Yep.
And she couldn't read, but I used to sit there and hold the book open, and I said, right, Katie, you point to the words that I'm speaking, and she knew it off by heart. And she could point to the words, and as we went through the book, and that was her bedtime story. And she never tired of it. Every night, that was it, what to go to bed with. And she started nursery, and I remember she'd been there a week, and my wife was nursing, so she was doing shifts, so it was my job to pick her up from school. And I was in a job repping where it meant that I could go and pick her up from school. And I remember all the mums and dads had been and taken the kids home, and I'm stood there waiting for Katie to come out, and she didn't come out. And I thought, I wonder where she is. And I thought, I wonder if they've rung Karen, because she's poorly and she's gone home. Anyway, the teacher came out with Katie holding her hand, and she said to Katie, Can you just go play in the sand, Katie, for a little bit while I have a word with your daddy? And I thought, all right, I wonder what's going on here. And she says, I'm sorry Katie's out late today. She always wants to go and sit in the library. She wants to go and sit and look at the books. And I said, yeah, that's Katie. She does like her books. And I said, a bedtime story. And I explained to her about Backyard from Clancy Street, you see. And she said, for her age, she says, it's not quite normal. And I said, it's not quite normal. And she says, no, we want her to be playing in the sand, and we want her to come and play in the water, and we want her to come and play with the shapes. And I says, I forget the teacher's name. I said, but she's done all that at home.
Ready.
We've done all that at home.
Ready.
Yes,
she was ready.
She was ready.
Kids that want to read.
And she said, I think you might need to take her to the doctor. She says, I think she may be dyslexic.
If you teach them backwards, they try and write backwards, don't they?
She's just finished a degree a couple of years ago down at Sheffield University, and now she's at the Henshaw School for the Blind, helping teach blind kids at a school there. So, and that is, we listen to these people that we think know best, and there's only you knows your kids better than anybody. And do not let doctors, teachers, or anybody tell you any different.
The men in white coats are coming to take us away.
They are. They certainly
the men
are.
And women in white coats.
And people that kowtow and listen to these people, and they think they're better than you because they've got a doctorate or a letter after the name, or I've done this degree. Take no notice.
There is a real awakening comes, and there's many of them along this journey, but there is one that I remember quite clearly, and that is that there is a section of society who are okay with the agenda, because they do confirm that there is too many people, and we should not use the resources up, and that includes food and fuel.
Yes.
Yeah, and as technology increases, we'll need less people, and forever less people.
Yeah.
And we need to reduce the population to accommodate what we need. And there are some scaremongers out there who say that the population is going to be reduced by 90%. They're going to release a chemical weapon, and they're going to use it regionally to wipe out populations. I don't think so. I don't think so.
No.
I think this type of scaremongering is
that's been the government being a double agent, isn't it?
Well, there are a few people who are perhaps. It doesn't appear to me they've never Not in the way that they're saying that they're going to really, and they're just going to kill millions of us on peace.
No,
I don't think people have realised that the actual chemical agent, the very chemical attack that we're looking for, is well underway.
It is.
Right, it's well underway.
Killing us softly.
I'd pretend to love us. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I'm starting to realise now that the people who are okay with this agenda believe the agenda for how it's been sold to them.
They do.
And I can see, sat in a chair that would be way above my intelligence and income bracket, I can see how, sat in that chair, you could justify saying, these people have had access to all the information and knowledge they've ever wanted. We've built a society that actually gives those that won't work and won't contribute. We still steal off those that will to give those that won't. And those that won't have had the chances, and they haven't taken them. And that all sounds real, but it's not true. It isn't true. Because you have to go back to the beginning here. We've been made this way.
We have.
We've been made to be how we are.
We've been born and bred.
We have, and this is the real thing that everybody listening must remember, and I'm talking to myself here as well. We've been made to be like this. If we had access to the intelligence, the knowledge, we would live differently.
Yes.
But no master is going to teach his slave what he knows. He's only ever going to educate his slave to do what he wants his slave to do.
As he's told.
And look what they're doing to us. They're making us dumb.
Yeah.
Now, dumb is not stupid in the way that most people think, is it?
No.
To be dumb is to lose the ability,
to speak.
Well, to communicate effectively. Right, we're losing the ability to communicate effectively. If you've got kids you know without me telling you, their spelling is atrocious most of the time. Their writing ability is way below what you would expect. They might be 14, 15, 16 years old, but their writing ability is that of an 8 or 9 year old.
Yeah.
Maths is now for a calculator. It's not for mental exercise. It's now to be done on a calculator.
Yeah.
We are losing the ability to read things that matter,
Yeah.
to write anything important,
Yeah.
and to calculate. We can't calculate. We can't. The ability to converse, as I've said many times, is you and I add value to the conversation. We share it. This multiplies because we've given something to each other. Add, subtract, multiply, share. We're losing the ability to have conversations of value.
Yeah.
Look around you. Look around. Listen. Listen to the conversations that are going on. They have no value. They have no resale value at all.
No.
They do not help your life or better your life in any single way. You are talking about nonsense and novelty, what you've seen, and then you say what you saw. See, saw, that's all you do all day. You've been programmed to talk about the past, the things that you've seen that don't matter, and you'll happily ring up the BBC and moan about something that one of the Wimbledon commentators said on 5 Live. You'll ring up the BBC. You'll 684 complaints. Right? They rang in. They complained about something that he said. Yeah, he said about something. She's not a looker or something.
It
was one of the female tennis players.
Yeah.
And 670, 84, whatever, rang in and complained. But you don't complain about things that matter, do you? You see how surface we are now.
Yeah.
How our ego is offended by things that don't matter. What's Gove talking about? He's talking about the word gay now, isn't he? He's talking about the word gay. They're starting to pick
ban the word gay.
He's starting to pick on the word gay. They are promoting a homosexual agenda.
They are.
Right. This is the long-term plan to turn men into homosexuals, as many as possible, because they want to make us in the image of themselves. Right? No God-fearing, loving people would do this to society, but the devil ants would. The devil ants would do it. The deviants would do it, so they can tailor society. Yeah. Look at these politicians. Look at them all. They can't do anything.
No.
Except spin you in the world of words.
Read a script. That's all they can do.
All they are is puppet masters.
They are.
You know, in the book Superclass, David Rothkopf said that there were 6,000 of the elites. 6,000 elites at the very most, who were sat at the very top of their pyramidical schemes and systems.
And something funny happened at the G8 conference. I don't know whether people are aware of it, but this so-called global village, this new world order that they've supposedly engineered between themselves, and they give this illusion that they're all closely knit, Bush and Blair, and we've got Cameron and Obama, and all the nations around the world. And Obama met George Osborne and called him Jeff twice.
Good lad.
Hello, Jeffrey, he said. So they can't even they don't even know each other's names. So if they don't even know each other's names, how can they con us into thinking that they're running all this whole thing, this whole world, that they're running it between them? Not a chance. Not a chance.
How it's really working isn't it? Is they know who we are, they know how we are, and they know how to manipulate us.
That is our downfall.
That
is the difference.
It's
they know us too well.
It's our weaknesses, and we are the working week, and we're knackered on a Saturday and Sunday, the weekend. We call it the weekend.
Yeah.
And it's not a mistake that Saturn and Sunday are side by side, is it? Because they're the two brothers.
Yeah,
they're
the ruling planets.
They're the good and evil that fight. Saturday being the day we go out shopping and get up to no good. The materialism, the banking, the banks are shut on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, he's the black planet, the dark planet, the timekeeper, Kronos, Saturn, Satan. Yes, say it how you like. And the sun's day. And they're side by side, and they get that's. It's not by mistake, is it?
No.
You know, that little language hop that the French to the English, the French still have the days of the week named after the planets, don't they?
They do.
Lundi, mardi, mercredi, vendredi, jeudi, samedi, dimanche.
Samedi, dimanche, yeah.
It's all the planets. They still have the Latin decode of the planets.
They do.
We've got war gods and all sorts. But that makes sense, because this has been run on war for a long time. We now have the ability to wage wars, wars.
Yes.
Yeah, wages, there's still our wages to war with it. But we now have the ability, I say we, I don't know why I include myself, it's not to do with me. The ability now is to wage wars on a number of fronts. It's the military-industrial complex, the world is war.
Yeah.
The world is war, it's nothing else, it's not going to beat anything else until they get the wrong way. They're fighting for global peace, on their terms.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Iron Mountain report...
Yes, I've read that.
1967, I think.
Yeah.
Right, the Iron Mountain report. You can find it online.
You can. I've got a copy of it if anybody wants one.
We'll put it up below this YouTube video that you're watching tomorrow.
It takes some reading.
It does, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It does. I've given it out to one or two people who said I can't understand it. And so take your time. Take your time. Because it's written in a language that we're not familiar with. It's written in a slightly higher decode, but you can get it. You can get it. Now, people say the Iron Mountain report. How can you prove it's real? Well, we're not interested in doing that. We don't argue about that. Read it.
Yeah.
1967. The one thing that we do know is it was released in 1967.
Yeah.
Right, we do know that.
Yeah. Another interesting date that links with 1967 is something you put up on, and I watched the YouTube video, the stem cell research doctor. The first stem cells he split in 1967. But anyway, digress. That was just another point. We think all this new. We think this is all. No. It's not. It's old stuff. It's rediscovered. It's been remembered. It's been researched over and over again.
Religion. It's all a religion. We actually live in a world, don't we, where the intelligent people are very concerned about the future, and the ignorant. They're convinced they know what's going to happen. It's the upside down, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when you do get to speak to intelligent people, they know this stuff. They actually know. Because to them, it's obvious. You say that we're on the cusp of making ourselves obsolete, and they say, yes, we are.
We certainly are.
You say, and we have a money system that is designed to ever-increasing payments to the bankers. And they say, yes, I know. And it does put you in your place, doesn't it, a little bit? I remember in the early days thinking, they all know this stuff. Here I am shouting and bawling, the world needs to know things that I've just learned. I've just watched a YouTube video and now I know stuff. It didn't work out very well.
No.
But I tried, and I soon learned that wasn't the way forward. Trying to engage people who obviously had a better education than me at that point.
Yes.
They already know.
They do.
They understand this system very, very well. But they don't see it in the negative light that we see it. They don't see its ultimate aim is to change humanity in a way that serves the masses
minority.
better.
Yeah, the minority.
Yeah, but we're going to be changed from this version of humanity into something more manageable, malleable and compliable. And we'll never be able to change back.
No.
We can't change back this time. We're going to be engineered to be something different. And the actual species will divide into two physically. Physically, you will now be able to see the superiors and the minors.
Yeah.
And we will be the minors. And children are called minors.
They are.
And the physical, spiritually, they've wrecked most people. Mentally, they've absolutely confused everybody's thinking. But this physical change, to turn us all into genomes, GNOME,
Yeah.
because that's what we're going to be. We're going to be small, squat, small images of, and they're going to be tall, athletic type superhuman. And that's the plan. And it's not difficult to see that the plan is underway.
It is.
It is well underway.
And and the actual depopulation, I can see it in my generation. My kids are not going to have the opportunity to have children. My daughter is 24. By the time I said to Kate, my daughter Kate, when I'd got 2 kids by the time I was 24. Kate had been the eldest and Lewis been the youngest. And they're at an age now where they're not even thinking about children. They don't even want to think about having children. It's not even on their radar. But yet it was on my radar. It was in my list of things to do.
Yeah, but their wishes have been, well, their list of achievements has been reduced considerably.
Yes.
You know, we're going to be a nation of renters.
Yeah.
And ultimately the banks own everything. The housing association cover that in various different housing associations or whatever. But this is eternal rent to the bank.
Yes, it is.
We maintain it, but they pick up the rent all the time through housing associations, which are just going to be landlords.
Yes.
It's just landlords' fronts, isn't it, really?
It is, yeah. It's banks under a different name.
Yeah, but, I mean, it is our ignorance of the money system, and I even find intelligent people don't understand the money system very well. You know, well, every house, if you look around you, if you're surrounded by houses that have been around for 50, 60, 70 years, those houses have been bought and sold probably 2 or 3 times. And how many people actually know that every time you go to the bank for a mortgage, if it's 100,000 or 150,000, that is roughly the amount of profit the bank's going to make over the 25-year time period that you've signed up for. If it's £150,000 your mortgage, the bank is going to make about that in profit. Yeah, so you're paying twice for it. And here's the real kicker that most people will never understand. The bank doesn't have any money. People can't get this. They think banks take money in and lend it back out.
Yeah, they do. It's digital.
But in today's modern world, banks they don't risk customers' accounts, or at least they weren't meant to ever be able to risk customers' accounts. They actually take your promise and print it in advance digitally. So they give you your future promises and bank what you've just given them to bank. You take in all 3 parts of the deal. You take in the guarantee to pay. Well, you take in the property, the security, and the promise. You're all 3 parts of it. They just actually make it happen. And I don't think anybody's ever going to actually figure that out in big enough numbers to say this banking carry-on's a bit of a bloody scam, isn't it? Because we don't have the ability to think different, do we? We don't actually... I hear people online talking about systems that we could create if this one wasn't here.
Yeah.
But there comes a time when you say, yeah, I'm enjoying I'm enjoying the ability to talk about what we could engineer, but we have to actually change this one into the new system. We can't. People say, we'll just opt out, just remove ourselves from the system. We shall just say no. Doesn't stop you doing that, does it?
No.
You can actually do that.
You could do that if you want.
If you can find somewhere that you can live for free.
Yeah.
But you can't go to the doctors. You can't phone the police or anything. I mean, this isn't a... Well, I'll have that benefit, but I'm not having that benefit. You see, if you're in the system with a national insurance number, you're in.
Yeah.
You're in. You've got to actually give that whole lot back and say, I don't want anything. It's a massive step backwards, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You do come to only one conclusion. We have to get involved with the system we've got.
We do.
And we have to challenge the corruption that's running it.
Yeah.
And we have to find good people, and they are around.
They are around,
They are here. They're around us all.
Yeah.
Good people are everywhere. Now, I've spoken to 2 pharmacists over the past 2 weeks. One from Thirsk and one from here where I live in Ripon. They both confirm that the pharmaceuticals that we're having and we've been given and the prescriptions that they're handing out, they both confirm they have problems with it. But they won't come on here and talk. So I say, well, why don't you just come and talk to me off record? We'll have a cup of coffee downstairs. I'll ask you 20, 30 questions. You give me how it looks from your side, and at least you know I can say I've spoken to a pharmacist. I've asked these questions. These are the answers that I got. Neither of them have you know, they won't do it.
No.
We are a bunch of cowards, you know.
Yeah.
We are a bunch of cowards.
We are.
Sat here talking as we are now. We're doing something that we have to remember that we're doing. We're dreaming of a future.
Yes.
And a dream can only come true when you wake up and make it happen. So, into the last section of our show we go then. That is the dream. I think that's fantastic. I absolutely love that song. Supertramp Live. 4 sections we've done this evening. We're getting the hang of this now, a little bit better. We don't try and do too long because this gets turned into a YouTube clip tomorrow. And we find just over the hour mark, we find people who listen to that.
Yeah.
But just over the hour and a half mark, they won't listen.
No.
They don't follow it through, do they?
No.
So it is getting towards the point of saying good night and thank you to absolutely everybody for listening to us this evening. We are just 2 guys from Yorkshire who try and make our little difference to what happens next.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do, isn't it?
It is.
We have to speak this into reality, speak it in a way that doesn't frighten people, make it attractive. All right? Don't push it too hard. It is the ultimate half a glass of water thing.
Yep.
If you just try, you know, I think my statistics maybe 1 in 15, 1 in 20, 1 in 25. That is going to be enough.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. Enough people aren't hurting yet. But it will get there. Remember what I said to the people who are already suffering now. Your job is not done now. Your job is to recognise those who are falling. Recognise the ones that are struggling. And don't say, I told you so. And don't say, don't talk about yourself. Do what it is that makes you happy. Can I help you with anything? Can I help you? Is there anything that I can do for you? You've got time. Use it wisely.
Yeah.
All right? Wisely. So when you see somebody who's struggling, say, can I help you with anything? Stop doing money as your number one driver. All right? Stop. Money is measured in the wealth of your friends, of your connections, the people who'll help you.
Yeah.
Don't be alone. Don't be lonely. All right? Alone is all the way. I know it sounds a bit flowery, but we're all in this together. We are all one. All one is the word alone. Don't be fooled. It's not you're not on your own. But you're going to find people like you, the ones that are the being leaves on the same tree as you.
Yeah.
Find who to walk with, who to talk with, and who to work with. Don't give up, but don't think the internet is your saviour. It's not going to save you. The internet can never save you. Every film that you've ever watched, somebody, something, some circumstance has saved the day. But it's never happened in real life, has it?
No.
We've got a story from 2,000 years ago.
Yes.
But they bloody crucified him, didn't they?
We're still waiting for
But they still crucified him. All right, he didn't win, did he?
Nope.
No, he didn't sail off into the sunset with his with cheers ringing to his ears. They bloody crucified him.
Yeah.
So remember the Barabbas story when they were given the choice: who should we save? Barabbas, a known thief, or Jesus himself, the teller of the truth?
Yeah.
And who did the crowd say? Who did the crowd vote for?
They wanted Barabbas.
That's who they wanted to release him, wasn't it? This tells you who we are and how we've always thought. And you say, but that's not me now. Congratulations, it's not you now. But this system is going to confront you one day. It's going to say, if you want something from me, you're going to do something from me. Because all slaves eventually will be made to perform, or they will starve. Now you think starve? Now I'll always get me. I'll always get me. The starving is different this time, aren't they?
It's a different starvation.
It's a different starvation, isn't it? You see the foods in the supermarkets, and you get just enough to go shopping. But it's a different starvation. You're eating it and eating it and eating it, but it's got no nutritional value.
No.
It looks like food. It tastes like food. It actually looks doll's house perfect, doesn't it? All year. All year. You can't actually grow food at the price they can sell it to you.
No, you can't.
You can't, and we're trying.
We're having a good... Yeah.
But we don't mind it, but we cannot grow food.
No.
Better. Oh, not better, but it's not... It doesn't look like the stuff they've got.
No, it doesn't.
The stuff they've got is bloody perfect.
It is.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. There it is. It's not food, is it? It's poison, isn't it? It's GMO. Genetically modified organisms. Will the politicians eat it?
No.
They're not having it.
They're not having it, no.
They're not having any of it.
No.
No. Do Monsanto's staff eat it?
No.
No. Do the royals eat it?
No.
No. Do any of the elites, do they all carry their own chefs around? Do they actually carry their own food around?
Yeah. You have had that confirmed to you, actually, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
We are in so much trouble.
We're in a message.
We're in a real troublesome time.
Yeah.
We're living in 2013 AD, after death. And who is it who's dying? Anno Domini, year of our Lords. That's about right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cricket's played at Lords, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, landlords.
House of Lords.
Yeah. Keep looking up at the skies, don't we?
We do, yeah.
Looking in the wrong bloody place, aren't we?
We certainly are.
For another Tuesday.
Another Tuesday, yes, gone.
Thanks for listening to everybody on Awake Radio. Thank you very much for letting us broadcast on the site. We absolutely love it. Not love it in a way, but we love being able to get this message out.
We do. Thank you to them. Yeah,
this is
letting us do our show.
It's our record, isn't it? It's our record
of
of what we've done, why we do it. We do it because we can. We try and learn different ways to say the same thing. If you listen back to our shows, you'll actually hear us saying the same thing week after week after week in a different way.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to work out how to switch that light on, how to get you upstairs and switch the landing light on.
Yeah.
Because at the moment you're downstairs in the basement, right, the base mind, or basement, you're in the basic mind, and we're trying to get you up the stairs and switch the light on. Okay, that's which 13 stairs, landing light. So let's leave it at that. And to everybody on Blog Talk and everybody on Wake, have a jolly, jolly good week. We'll be back next Tuesday. And for those listening on Blog Talk, only 3 more weeks on Blog Talk, and then we're going to transfer the actual broadcast over to Awake. So we'll give people plenty of time on Blog Talk that we're going to come off there, go on to Awake, we're going to reset the studio, and then we'll be able to take, we'll be able to do video recording. Live Skype calls, multi-Skype calls, all video recording. We'll be able to set up what is the next generation of studios, so that's why we're turning it around at the end of the month. All those things to come. We'll see you just before 9 o'clock next Tuesday. Have a good week. Till next week.
Good night.